What is good, guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Rory Gissing, and today's video is going to be my arm workout. So I've done competing for the year. I'm hanging up the trunks for the remainder of the year because I just am not good enough yet to contest for that Olympia qualification, that Olympia spot. So I'm not quite at that level, so I don't see the point in me continuing this year. I need to grow and get better, so the off-season plans are now undergo. Pretty sure it's underway. Off-season plans are underway, but they are just plans for now because I need to take a break for the time being. My body needs to recover. Plus, like I said in my previous video, I do have surgery lined up, so I'm forced to take a couple weeks off anyway, just to make sure I don't pull the stitches or anything. But plans to grow are being made, and this is where my content about myself is going to be a bit more focused on my growth periods and how much muscle tissue I need to put on in what areas as well. And as it turns out, this last year, I didn't make that much progress. In my head, it looked like I was making great progress. You know, the scales were going up, I was lean. But when you look at the photos and compare them, the quality of the muscle I had last year compared to the quality of muscle I had this year was slightly different. I didn't quite have the striations, I didn't have that density, I didn't have that look to the muscle which I did have last year. So even though I'm bigger, it didn't look as good. So I'm going back to what I was doing last year, which is higher volume. I'm going to boost the intensity of the workouts as well because I stopped doing things like rest pauses, which I was doing every single set for like 16 sets sometimes for the workouts. So they're getting reintroduced. Everything's getting a rest pause or some sort of intensifier just because it worked really well for me. And if you had no idea what any of that means, I will explain that further into the video when I'm actually doing them so you can see what it is, what a rest pause actually is as I do them when I train arms. Also worth mentioning, instead of jumping from just the 6 to 8 sets per body part I was doing per week, straight to 16 sets, I'm actually going to do, 10 to 12 for a few weeks and then increase it up to sort of that 14 to 16 area. Increasing the amount of sets can be seen as a progression metric, so I am going to slowly increase that until I get to the top end of the high volume stuff. So we're going back to the workouts which produced better results for me, and we're going to kick it off with my arm day. And of course, if you want to see all of my workouts, subscribe.
So we're going to kick it off with triceps, as I feel my triceps are lacking more than my biceps. So I like to train my triceps first, and we're going to start off with some dips. So as I have a slight weakness in my triceps in terms of just size, I'm trying to get the biggest range of motion that I can. So as you can see here, I really do close the gap, and luckily this does not hurt my shoulders, so I'm able to perform this exercise in this manner. A lot of people have shoulder issues when it comes to tricep dips, but I don't have that issue. My face is slowly turning the same color as my shirt. As you'll see, I'm doing a rest pause here, and this is where I take a couple seconds just to take a breather and then finish the set. And this does allow me to get a few more extra reps, as you can see, instead of just stopping when I hit that mechanical failure. So here we go with a nice stretch and just finishing off the set. So I did 4 sets of these with a rep range between 12 to 15 reps. And then I wanted to have a little play with this new handle, just because it does look like it forces my triceps to extend in the correct manner. Now, it does feel great at the start, and it does have all the mechanical benefits, whereas you can see I can twist my wrists in and really concentrate on contracting that tricep with getting some really good ROM as well in there. But it just started taking away my form at the end when I was reaching mechanical failure. As you can see here, is kind of pulling me out of place. So I actually only did 2 sets of these, and then I swapped it over to the ropes again. So in total, I did 4 sets with the rep range being 12 to 15 again with the ropes. And of course, every set I did want to do a rest pause, as you'll see me do here in a minute. So there is, I hit failure, I come in for a rest pause, I take a breather, and then I try to go for my extra reps here. So these are forced reps. There we go. Even though the form is still a little bit sus, it still does more to do these kind of reps than if I didn't do them at all. Now, worth mentioning, for the first time since my show, I actually had the confidence to get the tank top back out. So I just thought I'd include that clip in there for you. Now onto the last tricep movement, an overhead tricep extension. This is actually a bicep preacher curl that I use. It just sets up really nicely. I just want to have an overhead tricep movement in there as well. So it's the same 4 sets total. So we're doing 12 sets of triceps in total for this workout. Again, hitting that 12 to 15 rep range with rest pauses for every set. Now I am lucky that I don't have any elbow issues. I only have some little bit of tendonitis in the forearms when I do biceps, so I can get a really good ROM on this. Just had to check the camera there to make sure it was actually recording and in focus. But the basic tricep exercises work very well for me, which is just a dip, a tricep cable push down, and an overhead sort of a tricep extension of sorts. This time I'm using the cables as well. So you'll see here in a minute is my rest pause set. There it is. So I'm just going to pause, fully stretched, hold the stretch. If I have the option to hold the stretch, I will, and then finish with an extra couple sets until I do hit that failure or mechanical failure. And of course, a very majestic dismount from the machine, as it is pretty damn awkward. So the tricep exercises are pretty basic, but they work very well for me, and the same goes for biceps. So I'm just setting up here with a standard high barbell curl, as you can see here. I like to bring it up to sort of my nose or my mouth area. I just find this does just engage my biceps very well, and the pump is absolutely mind-blowing when I do it this way rather than dragging it up. As you'll see in a moment, drag curls are a different exercise that I also include. Now, a lot of people will swing when they hit mechanical failure. This is okay as long as it is right at the end and not for every single rep. You'll probably see me do some in a second here. There we go, a little lean back and a little kick as I do my rest pause. I think this is the one where I just throw it back a little bit. No, not that one. There it is. There's the little swing. So that is acceptable when it comes to bicep curls, as long as not every single rep is looking like that. These are the cable drag curls. There's a bit of a hybrid drag curl because my elbows aren't fully back. I like to engage my front delt, so I actually, as you saw at the start, pull it forward and then start the exercise. So you'll also get another chance to see that when I do my rest pause, as the rest pause will be in a stretch, and then I'll re-engage that sort of front delt and bicep as they are tied into each other, and I like to do it that way. So here we go with the stretch. I'll stretch out that bicep, and then I'll re-engage it, bring it forward a touch there, and then continue with the movement. You can see all of that post-show water retention is starting to get me some crazy vascularity in these shots. I absolutely love it, but I just wish I had some abs still, as the water retention on my stomach is getting quite bad. So again, a slight lean back when I hit mechanical failure. Nothing wrong with that, providing it's only the last few reps. Moving on to the last exercise of the day, a single arm preacher curl. I prefer single arm over dual arm just because I find I can get my body in a better position, a more comfortable position if I do a little twist, so I can concentrate on one arm at a time. I also like doing preacher curls at the end, so I'm pre-exhausted. It means I can get a good stretch without the worry of tearing that bicep. I've seen a few people tear biceps, and it's mainly on preacher curls just because you're exposed to quite a vulnerable situation right there at the bottom when you stretch it out. So I don't want to load this up with a load of weights and then risk, having that tear just to hit my rep ranges. So all my bicep exercises and my tricep exercises were 4 sets of reps between 12 to 15. And triceps being the weaker of the two, I will train triceps one more time in the week, potentially after shoulders or after chest. I've only just realized that I didn't do a rest pause in this set. I think I am going to just play that one, depending on how I feel, again, just because you're very vulnerable in a preacher curl. So I think that's probably the reason I just wasn't fancying it. There's a mini rest pause, but that doesn't really count. That was just me taking a break. I just get to just failure, and then I pretty much end the movement. Oh no, I do rest pause. Never mind, I'm talking shite. Maybe I just didn't see it, or I just missed it on that one arm. That is my bad bicep, where I do have that tendonitis in the forearm. So maybe I just wasn't feeling it, or maybe I just didn't see it. And of course, we have to show off the pomp of the workout as my arms were absolutely exploding. I don't think they've ever looked this good before, even though the detail is lost just because of all that water.
But that's everything for today, guys. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. My name's Rory Gissing. I'll catch you in the next video.